Well, hello there, stamping friends. This is Traci Raether from Plum Crazy Stamping, and it is October 1st, 2025. Goodness, fall has arrived, but we're experiencing summer temperatures, and I couldn't be happier. Anyway, I hope that you're having a wonderful day and that you're all excited for us to jump into a paper pumpkin that is all about autumn. So, as you're coming aboard, please sign in and let me know who you are and where you're watching from. And you can do that in the comments on Facebook. And you can also do that on YouTube. And on YouTube, you just have to be logged into your Google account or your YouTube account. That's the same account, actually. And then you can use the comments to share any questions that you have with me or any feedback that you have on the projects. And let's see, welcome, Kathy. I am doing great. I hope you're doing well too. I am really excited. I have to tell you, if you could see the side of my desk over here. So we're gonna go through the 3 projects that were designed as a part of this kit. But I've got 6 more cards that we're going to figure out and create together. We're going to do it right in real time. I don't have them planned, but what I have done is picked out some things that I had in my craft room that I thought might be wonderful to share on these cards. So it's going to be a lot of fun today. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to shift this down to the desktop so that you can see what we're doing here. And in case you're not familiar, I just want to let you know that, excuse me, our Paper Pumpkin is our monthly subscription program. And this is a project all done for you. They've planned it out. They've designed the cards in this specifically this month, this kit called Fall for Toile, September 2025. This has actually got the parts and pieces for 9 cards. I'm actually going to show you how to get more out of it than just the 9 cards. But if you like the kit the way it's developed, then you're good to go. And you have these colored instructions that will help you just gather the different parts and pieces that have been supplied in the kit for the 3 different cards. And then there are color instructions that are step by step for each card. You even have a ruler on the side here in case your kit has linen thread or ribbon. You can measure it right here with this instruction sheet. They also give you a picture of everything that's to be included. There is a QR code in case you don't have someone that you watch or you want to see another person put the kit together. You can do that. And then there is a die cut set available. And this die cut set is designed to work with 3 different months of paper pumpkins. And then the thing that's very, very helpful for me every month are the coordinating Stampin' Up! Colors. So I've decided to use Cajun Craze and Early Espresso, Pecan Pie, and Timid Tiger as accompanying colors to the projects when we do the card alternatives. So looking forward to that. So in this set, I get a stamp set. So here's a picture of all of the stamps that are included in this set. And I've already got them mounted on my acrylic blocks to get us going today. And then we've got 9 different envelopes, and they have different colored flaps on them that are very pretty. And then they include the adhesive that we need for this kit. And so these are mini dimensionals, and then they give us their version of glue dots. We always get at least 1 Stampin' Spot. So the featured one this month is Cajun Craze. And I know I've shared with you before, I save those for my crops when I go out and about. And then we have 3 different card bases in this kit that are kind of stuck together right now. So they're each a little bit different. We have different sentiment labels, die cuts. Actually, isn't this a cool piece that they have cut out for us? Card fronts and some very nice ribbon. Okay, now this is the third set of card components that I'm not going to be using today. So I'm just going to put them back in my box. That came gift wrapped inside. It's a present every month when I go to my mailbox. I love it. I know it's on its way and I can never wait for it to show up. Anyway, my husband buys me a 12-month subscription and I get a present from him every month and I absolutely love it. You know, we're going into the season. You may want to think about putting this on your wish list and sharing it with your loved ones. And just tell them to contact me at Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com, and that you would like a paper pumpkin subscription. And I'll help them to make sure it lands in your mailbox too. Anyway, hi, Sue. Glad you're here. All right, let's go ahead and get started. There's a lot to do, and I can't wait to get to those alternative projects. So let's pick out, here we go with our first one. I've got all of the parts and pieces in the envelope here that matches. So let's get this. So this is the envelope for this project. We've got this beautiful frame. What a beautiful card base. Okay, let's go ahead and just get that folded right on the score line. These card bases are already scored for us. So we've got that. We're going to do a little stamping. We've got some beautiful acorns that we're going to stamp here. So I'm just going to get out my Cajun Craze. Now I have not seasoned these stamps, so I probably should have a little piece of scrap paper. And remember, these are photopolymer, so I want to have a pierce mat. I'm grabbing that right now and setting this on my scrap paper. And let's just make sure it's stamping nice since it's not conditioned. And what that means is, you know, there might be some oil from the process, or, you know, it doesn't pick up the ink real well right away. And so you can either just stamp with it until it picks up the ink the way you like it. You can stamp with it and wash it off and dry it and then stamp with it. But that's how we condition our stamps. So, oops, I need to leave this here. Let's put the die cut that they've provided for us here, and let's stamp the little acorns right on that die cut. There we go. Set that off to the side. And that's the only stamping we're doing for this card right now. Okay, and I have already, in the instructions, they give you the suggestion where all of the adhesive should be applied. So I did put all of the dimensionals already on this large piece. Now I'm going to go ahead, and because this is going to overlap, you can see where this is going to overlap the frame piece. I'm going to put half dimensionals and half glue dots on here. And since it's going to go over here, the dimensionals are going to be on this side, and the glue dots are going to be on the other side, where they'll already be raised because of the frame, and we don't want it to be tilted. Oops, I got this upside down. There we go. So we'll just put those in place. And then we have our sentiment, and I already have the dimensionals on that. And now we're ready to actually take all of the adhesive covering off of all of our dimensionals. All right. now there's a whole bunch of them on this frame. I just love this framework with the die cut tree. Oops. We've been trying to get all of the veggies out of our garden, and I've been dealing with trying to maintain my flowers as long as I can. So I've really done a number on my hands, so my nails are all very, very short right now. So I need to use my take your pick tool to get the adhesive coverings off of here. There. Okay, I think I have all of those. Now I just need to do the little glue dots. Well, maybe. There we go. Okay, and we're ready to put our card together. So with this large die cut, this makes this easy. We're just going to be centering this. There we go. And then we're going to add the sentiment right here. And a little embellishment of our acorns. Wow, and that is card 1 done, and I love how they paired this one with the envelope flap that is also in Cajun Craze. Isn't that gorgeous? All right, number 1 down. Let's go on to number 2. And let me just grab all the parts and pieces for that one. And this time we have Timid Tiger for our envelope. So just set that up here. We've got this looks like linen here. And on white linen with some like crumb cake on it. It's very pretty. And I'm going to just do the bone folder again to get a good crease right where they already have this scored. Okay, and there is our card front. Perfect. Now this one for stamping, we need to stamp our sentiment. We're going to stamp the card front with leaves. And I'm going to set all of these aside here while we do that. And let's get the Pierce mat back here. And we'll start and do our background first. So bring in our Cajun Craze here. And what I did is I took all 3 of the leaves that were supplied in the kit and just randomly put them on here. And now I'm going to randomly do the front of the card in Cajun Craze to make a background. And I'm going to turn this as I go so it does look random. And I might go off the edge a bit. So if you don't have designer series paper, you can always pick any of your stamps, whether large or small, and you can make your own designer series paper. You could do each of these leaves separately and in different colors to make it more interesting. You're the artist. You get to decide. All right, there. I think I need one going off the edge up here. There we go. Okay, we've got that in place. Now let's go ahead and do our sentiment. I really like this sentiment. Wishing you the happiest of days. Isn't that what fall is? Or I could say that about summer too. Winter, not so much. Spring, sure, as long as it's not raining, right? You know what? I have not conditioned that, so I just want to double check. Yeah, we're doing good. And we're just going to center this. And just hold it in place. And remember, to get the best images, you go straight down and you pick straight up to not smear your ink. Well, hi, Kim and Betty. Yeah, these are beautiful colors. And Kathy, you're sitting there with your kit, but waiting until you see what the alternatives are. Great. Okay, we've got that done. So the stamping for this card is done. Now let's go ahead and put it together. So I need to put the glue dots on the back of our sentiment here. All right. And then take those all off. I was going up to bed last night and I saw something weird on the step, and I put my flashlight from my phone on it, and it was dimensional covers. I didn't know if I'd lost some popcorn when I brought it down a couple nights ago or what, but nope, dimensionals. Even with my little eggplant here, I've kind of been keeping all my little scraps in my eggplant I got at the thrift store. I love that thing. And I haven't had as many dimensionals around, but I must have missed one. I'm sure it was stuck on my arm and I didn't know it. All right. And it's really nice. The instructions for Paper Pumpkin even give you the suggested area to put your dimensionals or your glue dots, to do the best job of putting it down. The other thing is it does help with if something's going to be layered, what part of the die cut should be dimensionals or should be glue dots. So you don't even have to guess. That one doesn't want to come off. There we go. All right, so now we can do our layering, and we've got this really pretty ribbon. Now this one came even with finished edges, and we're just going to be putting that kind of to the side here. This way, I think. Okay, so I'm going to wait with that a minute. Move that off to the side. All right, so we're going to start building our leaves. And let's see, we'll go this way first. And I'm just going to try to keep this, somewhat centered. And then we'll put down the other part. And I think this is really pretty. It's in the Darling Duckling and the Timid Tiger. And then look at the shiny, like early espresso, that metallic, or they call it like metallic chocolate. Isn't that beautiful? Talk about chocolate. I'll want to have my, I have a candy bar that I get that has dark chocolate and almonds, and you're supposed to have those every day. So I listen, and I do 3 little squares. It's 70 calories and tastes incredible. Anyway, that's what this is making me think of, but I'm going to wait till a little later. All right, so we've got that. Now we're going to put our ribbon on here, off to the side, and then we're going to cover this with our sentiment. And that's actually attaching. This had 5 glue dots. That helps it to stay where it needs to be. But check it out, and putting some of that shiny metallic here, and it's actually on the die cut too. Really makes a difference. I think that's lovely. Kathy, yeah, those little adhesive tops do get everywhere. So this one is paired with the Timid Tiger envelope. All right, we're ready for card 3. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'm taking a peek at it as I do in between projects here. Now this one has our pecan pie top. That's gorgeous color. All right, and let me just put these die cuts to the side already. I already have the dimensionals on there. We're going to actually stamp some geese on here, and we're going to stamp our sentiment. But let's go ahead and just crease our score line again. This is kind of fun for fall. A little plaid. All right. Now this one's going to be a landscape card. Let's get our pierce mat here for our stamping. Okay, and bring this back in here and find our geese here. Got to make sure I'm doing them the correct direction. Let's try this here. Yep, have them going the right direction. Right up here in the corner. All right. And then we have Thinking of You for our sentiment. All right. And then we can just put our parts and pieces together. Make sure I have this opening the right way. Have you ever put it the wrong direction? I have. Sometimes I have to leave it that way because it's been so well adhered, but other times I can remove it and fix it. Sometimes I like to give my friends a chuckle. When they open it, they're like, what? And sometimes I'll write something and they're like, oops. But sometimes I don't say anything and see if they say something to me. It's kind of card maker humor, right? I guess if I do have those, I do send them to my friends that make cards because then they get it. Other people might be like, what? Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and take all the adhesive coverings off of these. All right, there we go. Now we're ready to just put this all together. So we've got our card base, and then we can do our sentiment up here. Let's see, do I get that one dimensional right there? Sure enough. Nice pumpkins. And this beautiful red fox. Do you know when I went to Breckenridge in Colorado, my husband and I were downtown kind of checking out some of their artsy stores, and a large red fox, this color, was coming down the center of the main street. And I'm trying to get my camera out and take a picture. My husband's like, get in this store, get in this store. And I'm like, I didn't get a picture yet. He goes, get in the store. You don't know why he's on Main Street. Well, so I could get his picture, but that didn't happen. Anyway, that really reminds me of that experience. So this is card 3 with the pecan pie envelope flap. So these are the 3 projects that were planned for today. And now we're going to get into the alternatives, which I can't wait to share with you. So I don't know if you have any questions about these or comments before we start our alternatives. I'm just going to move these out of my way now. And I will post pictures of these in my weekly email next week. And I will also put them on my business page. Okay, so let's talk about doing alternatives. So as I said, I was going through my supplies and I came upon this set of paper that is from a year ago. And we're trying to look for the title of it. I think it's Autumn Beauty, if I'm not mistaken. Can't find the wrapper right now. But anyway, I thought these are going to go with these colors, the Timid Tiger, Darling Duckling, and Pecan Pie. And I've got my Cajun Craze as well. And I took what was this card base for this card, and I cut it in half, but then I also cut it down to be the size of a card front. So these are each 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And that was just cutting the edges off of the original card base that was part of the kit. Okay. So we have those. And then I thought, with this, what kind of card base do I want to use? And so I decided Pecan Pie is going to be the one that matches these. And I'm going to have to get out my trimmer here to put my score line on here. So these I'm just going to make as regular cards at 4 1/4, scoring them. Make sure I have the score blade, which is the light one. Okay, and do this other one. So I'm going to get 2 cards out of the 1 card. And I may have to bring this up to cut again, but right now I'm just going to set this down and we're going to do a little designing. Okay. So I took parts and pieces that are left over. And what was nice with this kit is there's one that was designed to be, with this. And then there was an extra one. So I took both of those. Okay. And then there are the leaves that go with this. So I may or may not use them on separate cards, just only putting one on each card. I do have this ribbon, and whether I want to keep that with 1 card or cut it in half, I'm not sure yet. But then I really liked this paper with this color. And then I just had scraps in here too. And I thought, maybe I don't even have to cut into my brand new piece because I've got enough that actually I can put a little bit inside this card too. And you know what? I might... maybe I'll do this one differently. And put this inside the card. Or I can use this. Let's see, I'm not even going to need my full sheet of designer series paper there. And this one, I'm going to do a little bit to the side. Yep, I think it's coming together. So let me grab, I'm going to continue with white. So we will have the insides of the card too. All right, so let's go ahead and start just putting this together. And you know, until I have it all set up, I usually don't glue it down. So we'll just get it all set here. Make sure I have it cut the way I want it. And actually, this is the perfect scrap, right? So we've got that. And do I even want this sticking? You know what? I'm going to put it behind there. All right. So now I need to do my stamping. And I'm going to use the stamp that the sentiment matches. Wishing you the happiest of days. Okay. And I'm going to just glue these layers together here. Doesn't it look like it was actually meant to be part of this? It's amazing. Don't forget your scraps and what you have. I actually had a section. I'm going to actually pop that up on here. I had a section that was autumn papers, and I just went looking in there, and lo and behold, there was this beautiful paper, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I'm trying to turn over a new leaf. Ha ha, fall. And, you know, use my designer series paper and stop saving it. What am I saving it for? The next year, there's always more that I really, really like. And I can kind of roll these larger dimensionals off. There we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and just center this. I'm going to use just a little glue on this. And I'm going to glue this down too because I have already popped up the card front. And then for the inside, I'm going to go ahead and just glue this right on here and then just trim off that top piece. Kind of match it up here so I know how far my glue should go. Now I could have cut this in half, but I kind of like that it's a little wider. We'll just clip this off here. There we go. And the sentiments, I probably, if I want to put one in, I'd have to get one from another stamp set to offset that. But there is our first alternative. And that's really taking advantage of, some designer series paper that I had. And let's do this the same way. Oh, I should have probably just stamped these at the same time. Grab that stamp again. I know, Kathy, isn't it something? It does feel like it was made for this. Now, once again, when I'm doing a sentiment, I don't necessarily need the Pierce mat. I do have a little cush on my desk here. Okay, we've got that. Let's go ahead. This time I'm going to put the tree on the other side. Wait, I don't like the way this is curled up a little bit. I'm going to do it this way. So let's go ahead, and I just kind of set this next to each other, right? So I know how high up the glue goes. Kind of use my desktop just to press it down and make sure it's even. Okay. Go ahead and fold this. This one I'm just going to glue flat. Now the question is, do I want to I think I am going to put that there. Now, if I wouldn't, I could probably use just white paper on another pecan pie and have a whole nother card front. Okay, and this one now I'm going to put up on dimensionals, and let's see if we want to put our ribbon down here. I don't think it needs it, that tree. Okay, let's do the dimensionals. So I know you can see there are tons of ways you could go with this design, right? And you know what I need is a little bling right there. I did it a little lower on that circle, so it's like, what bling do we need? Oh my goodness, I have this one with flying birds or the dragonflies. I'm looking for something, I think, in gold. Those might work. Oh, now these are fall. This is like older than dirt, but that would work. let's see. I'm sure I can pick from one of those. I actually think that one is probably the prettiest. And if I want to put, I think I'm just going to go with one thing right now. You know, less is more, right? Sometimes I go a little bit too much stuff. Let's just go ahead and take one of these. Put it right there. And then we've got the smaller ones. You know what? Do we like? We might just put a leaf on the inside there. I'm going to glue this on here. Or do I just want the leaf? That leaf's kind of big for the inside. I think I'm going to just go with my original thought here and put the tree on here. But there's choices. So I don't know where you keep all your extra die cuts that either you make while you're stamping or from your other paper pumpkin kits. You know, keep them near your desktop so that you can use them. You never know when it can be the final piece that just makes all the difference, right? All right, so I'm just going to kind of keep these here for the other cards that we'll be working on. And actually, this one will work to say warm wishes. Let's go ahead and put that in here. I'm just going to do it on the bottom. There. So there is card 2. So isn't that an easy way to get 2 cards out of one? Now, I didn't even do the stamping in the other colors I had set aside, but let's move on here to the next ones and see what we want to do. So the next card front that I did, just here are some more papers from that card set, because this one is this card front cut in half. And then this one. Now this has the designed stuff with it, so I might just make this very similar to the other card and then really spend my time creating on this one. So let's set that there. And let's see what we want to do that would be different with this one. Oh, I do need to get my trimmer out and score these here. And I'm going to do this just as a regular card as well. On the next one, I'm going to do a fun fold. Last week when I was doing the challenge for 5 days, I found out that a lot of people like fun folds, and everybody chose the same one as their favorite. So that, oh my gosh, what did I do? I was talking, wasn't I? All right, this one's correct. Anyway, everybody liked the same fun fold, and it was a Z fold. So that's the one I'm going to do for you today, because this will be another card design using that fun fold. Let me grab another piece of cardstock here and stop talking for a minute while I score it. All right, here, we won't even score it. We'll just fold it. We'll live on the wild side here. All right. So we've got our 2 cards. Well, this one, we can do our regular landscape. Or I can save that for a 3rd card and see if I want to do You know what? I can cut this in half and do something a little bit different with this. Let's do that. Let's cut our die cut a bit. Then we can add in that paper. And there's a part where this fence ends. I think that's where I'm going to cut this, right at the end of the fence. All right, so we've got 2 sides to that. Let's see what we end up doing with them. And we've got this one. We can and then with our pumpkins, I don't know if that's just way too off. Maybe I'm just going to do something totally different. Yep. I'm going to use this on a totally different card. So I'm just going to glue this down over the front. Let's see here, just so I know how far I'm gluing. Kind of nice. I have the lines I can follow on that paper. Okay. And I think I'm going to use the early espresso to do the sentiment here. Okay, I think I'm going to glue the sentiment down, but I'm going to pop up the pumpkins and pop up the fox. Well, you know what? I'm going to take this off of his head because it's already popped up on the pumpkins. All right, it's stuck to my finger. All right, let's have him sitting right in front of those. There. So there is card 3. And now you could make more pumpkins because in this kit there were pumpkins. All right. And then with this one, you know, I'm tempted to just put this on here and do this large sentiment. We're going to see if it looks good. If it doesn't, I'll cover it up with designer series paper. And let's put our geese up here. And I don't know if this even needs anything else. Let's see. Nope, I like it just plain. Maybe I'll move it a little bit away from the edge there. And then let's do this. Let's open it up and have it go the other way. And then on this one, I'm going to use the Warm Wishes. There, that was totally impromptu, and I actually like it. Yeah, that one was better without the corn, wasn't it? Okay, so we've got those, and actually now we're going to make 3 cards out of 1 card because I have these other pieces yet. And let's see, I need to grab the other card base though, seeing as I'm going one step further here. Oh, and you know what? I just thought of how I can make this 4 cards. Oh my gosh. Tell me to stop. Okay, so we've got this. And let's just see how we like. It's like almost too many. You know, I have an extra one of these. Because they had 4 of those as well. I think I'm going to put that there, and that could go to the 4th card. And I wish I had a tiny sentiment. So this is, I think my box of sentiments is out in the other room, but I also have a binder of them. Let's see if we can find one. Oops. That will work with this. So we've got this card. And we've got Thinking of You and Thanks. Oh, these are even the right colors. Browns. So I could do thanks, right? So this is a magnetic photo album, and now they make them. This is lignin free. You know, for a while when these came out a long time ago, they were not. Now they are. So you can put your stuff in here. Even if you would mix it with photos, it would be okay. But this is where I put extra sentiments and I can see them all. So I like that. They get, well, soon kind of the wrong color. And then when I do multi, Merry Christmas. No, don't want Merry Christmas. Ooh, I have more pumpkins in here. I might take one of these out for the pumpkin page. And then these just lift out. All right, I'm going to go back here and pick one of these that were in the right color. I'm just going to do this thanks. All right, so you've got a tip about how to save some of your extras. Let's go ahead and let's just make this one very straightforward and just glue it down. And we'll glue down our tree in the frame. And we've got our sayings. I don't know that we need that. I'm going to leave that off. And I have this one gem I'm going to put in here to cover that little hole. Oh, you know what though? This is white and all of this was not. Well, I'm going to let it be. There's white in the tree here. Okay, so that's the one thing I am going to pop up on dimensionals here. I like it down here. And then I'm just going to put one of these where that hole is. There, kind of like it belongs there. And I think I'm going to get those birds that are gold and put a couple of those flying. So here's another tip I want to show you. So instead of actually trying to get this open all the time with the adhesive, I'm just going to cut along. I'm going to kind of slide this down in there, and I'm going to cut right on the edge of the cardboard of this packaging. And then this is so easy now to slide in and out. And let's do a couple of birds flying here. There. All right, so that kind of adds a little bit with the birds there. You know, so this has birds and dragonflies, and I know we've had butterflies like this. Bees. All right, so there we're at 5 cards already. All right, I'm going to leave these other pieces. We've got more for a card like this, but let's go to the next 2 that have the other card front. And let's make our Z fold here. Well, let's see. You're very familiar with this design. We basically just did this. Let's see. I had a little different plan for this one. So let's make this our Z fold. Set that aside. We'll see if we get there or not. You guys are hanging in. We've been here an hour. You're doing great. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this one, let's go ahead and I'm not going to score this again. I'll just fold it. So now I decided the card base will be Cajun Craze. And I actually did that to match this tree. But I am going to cut that tree out of that frame because I'm going to use it differently. So let's, here I need my bone folder. All right, so we've got our card base. And now I'm going to cut the tree right out of this frame. And I want to do it in like one fell swoop, so that this could be just put into another, or actually layered on top of a rectangle and kind of look the same way. So I am just going to take my time and go straight down this frame and the tree trunk. All right, so now I have my frame. And see, this will be perfect. Just put on another piece of that, or even, you know, very vanilla. And now this was the back, right? But I'm going to save that. So I'm going to make multiple cards out of this card again, too. Maybe not today, but you'll see how many possibilities there are to just get multiple cards out of the same card. Okay, so this one I'm actually going to cut with pumpkins. I think I like this one where all the multiples are. So let's see, let me measure this so I know where I want to cut it. And where's the ruler? You know, the answer to that question is always right in front of you, but I don't see it. In this case, it was right behind me. Okay, so we're going to cut 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. I know you can't see this. I need to put it where I don't have the interference of this right here. 4 3/4. And then by 3 1/2. Is that correct? 4 3/4 long. Yep. 3 1/2. Okay. No, wait, 4 3/4 this way. And then by 3 1/2. All right, so we've got our pumpkins we're going to put in our frame. Just going to glue that together, and I think to not get glue on my desktop here, and plus it's easier for me to see the white on the silicone mat than on the white desk covering I have here. Okay. And having that little slide factor really works well. Okay, and we've got that for our Cajun grays. Oh, I like that. Now we have a couple choices. So that could go on there, although that's very white. So my other choice is to actually do these pumpkins, but do it on the very vanilla. So let me see where I folded this one wrong. This is now scrap paper. And let's see, I'm going to do them in Timid Tiger. Okay, let's do this. And I'll do this on my mat just to make sure I get a good image. I think that will be enough. Now I'm going to fussy cut that. I don't think I have any of these. Actually going to. So now when you fussy cut, you just move the paper, not your scissors. And I do leave a little, area between the image and what I'm cutting, where I'm cutting. And then I like 3, so I'm actually going to cut this other pumpkin out of right here. And also by having these 2 different stamped images, I'm going to be able to, provide another layer of interest, right? All right, there we go with that. So we've got those there. I really wish I could get a pumpkin cut out of here. Let's see. Just going to try something for giggles here. I don't know if making these squash and pumpkins with some in this photo, looking like the paper. If that kind of helps this blend in a little bit. And then are thankful. Maybe that does help make it all blend in a little bit. And I bet you that if I color in my pumpkin just a little bit, and I'm going to use Wink Estella, make a little shine here, and it should drag some of this ink into the pumpkins. So that they look a little more orange. This will kind of match the metallic a little bit. Kind of gives them a little more yellow look. All right, there. Okay, so now I'm going to glue this actually down and then layer these other pieces on there. I hope you're kind of getting the idea of just having, your supplies around you and kind of find things that go together. And you know what? This is just, I'm having a great hour plus here just designing and making cards, not really knowing how they're going to end up, but, having some fun, right? All right, so let's see. This one I'm going to put up on a dimensional. And then these, I think they're going to sit kind of right on that frame. And I'm going to glue those on the bottom here. And put one dimensional on the top. So that it's going to stick out a little bit. The dimensionals right here. And this one is going to be glued flat. Kind of have it go over the frame a little bit. This one's going to be flat. And kind of sitting on top of our sentiment here, which is going to get popped up. There. So we kind of have a pile of pumpkins, a little bit different kinds of pumpkins. So I guess that one's a little, oh, what would you call it? Eclectic. And then for the inside, let's see what we want to do here. Because now I've got, is this big enough? Well, I'm actually going to center that because I have chunks taken out of these, right? So let's just center this one on the inside. On the card insert. All right, and there is that card. So let's see. Move all the tools aside here. And there is a lot more parts and pieces I can use, and I still have a whole another set of card parts and pieces. So, you know, I can just keep going, right? But we've got our 1, 2, 3. This one we just did, 4. Then we've got the 5th one. Put it up here a little bit so you can see it. And then we have that kind of impromptu 6th one here that has a really fun inside. So, any comments, any questions? Oh, I'm Kathy. I'm glad you're watching how I think and how I try things. That can be a little scary sometimes. But it's all in the name of creativity, right? Hi, Kathy. Janovsky. Nice to see you. All right. Well, let me just put this back and say thanks so much for sticking around and watching me create with a paper pumpkin. And, you know, there is so much that you can do with one of these kits. If you like just following the card design with all the parts and pieces, that works great. If you want to do something and step up the cards, you can do that. You can just put things that you have in your stash that you haven't been using and bring those things to life and actually get more cards out of your kit. You know, think about whether or not this is something, especially with fall and winter coming, you know, that if you don't already get paper pumpkin, maybe this is something that would really be fun and you don't have to have the stress of designing the cards. You just play with the kit and you get this great gift in your mailbox once a month. If you're interested in that and want my help in getting that ordered, I'd be happy to do that. You can reach out to me at Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com. Otherwise, friends, until next week, I just want to stay happy stamping and take care, everyone. Bye-bye now.